Hi guys, Dane here, and today I'm actually filming my January wrap-up in January, or at least making a start on it. These are all the books that I read in January. Let's go.
Dane reads.
Okay, so we have Catch the Creeper, which I just attribute to Mojang Studios. It's like Where's Waldo in the UK, it's Where's Wally, except it's Minecraft stuff. You've got to find creepers, you know, Endermen, cats, witches, all of this stuff. And then once you get through it, there's like a secondary thing where it says, okay, now go back and see if you can find these bonuses, which is quite fun. It does also show all the answers as well. And it has like a little bit of text about, you know, the main characters like Steve and stuff, and it tells you about some of the creatures there as well. So it was a fun little read. I think I picked it up for like 99p or 1.99 or something at Aldi or Lidl, one of the cheap shops. And yeah, it was cool. Then I read You Like It Darker by Stephen King. So I've written a full review of this actually. Well, I write a full review of everything, but I thought my full review of this one was particularly good because he sort of talked about how a lot of people have written Stephen King off since he's gone sober, and I just don't think that's fair. I think this book in particular shows that he's still got it. Really great characterization, really great plots. Some of them are kind of open-ended stories, which I quite like as well. The first story, called Two Talented Bastards, is a cracker, and it's about a writer who's nearing retirement and basically details where he got his talent from. And yeah, that was a lot of fun to read. It was very Stephen Kingy, but also it made me fear that King himself might retire one day. I hope not. Yeah, it wasn't too long as well, and for, you know, Stephen King, his shorts are like longs for most other people. But it was really nice to read a book of his that wasn't super long and felt as though it needed more editing. If anything, he probably could have squeezed a few more short stories into it if he'd wanted to. Definitely a must read if you're a Stephen King fan, especially if you're keeping up with his latest releases. So I gave You Like It Darker by Stephen King a 4 out of 5. Oh yeah, Catch the Creeper I gave like a 3.5 out of 5. And I will be doing a review of You Like It Darker, so keep your eyes peeled for that if I haven't posted it already, which I probably haven't posted it already. All right, folks, just the one book to wrap up for you today. I actually have it here. It is The Bridge on the River Kwai by Pierre Boulle. And yet again, I've paused YouTube and it's just started playing by itself again because it's playing an ad. So it's like, yeah, I've clicked you to pause you. What the fuck are you doing, YouTube? Jesus Christ. Right. Okay, we'll try that again. And yeah, obviously this is a very famous movie. I think I have seen the movie, but not for a long time, so I don't really remember it too much. So it was really interesting to read the book. It's also fascinating to know that the guy who wrote this, Pierre Boulle, also wrote Planet of the Apes. I did think Planet of the Apes was better, but how can you compare the two? It's, you know, science fiction versus, I guess, historical fiction, albeit very recent history. And yeah, basically a bunch of British prisoners of war are forced to build a railway in Burma for the Japanese, and it's actually, I don't know if you can see it from here, I don't know where it's gone actually, but I have a photo on my wall somewhere of a section of this railway, this real railway, that I took at the National Memorial Arboretum near my mum's house. So yeah, it's kind of hits quite home because I've actually seen part of the railway that, you know, thousands, tens of thousands of prisoners of war were killed, basically, were worked to death and killed to create. Anyway, what's interesting about this is we see this from two sides. So we see the prisoners of war who are being forced to build it, and then we also see kind of the team that's sent in to destroy it as well. And the prisoners of war are led by a guy called Colonel Nicholson, who is an incredible character. He's very stiff upper lip, so he's like, he would rather die than break principles. Like, he would rather get himself and all of his men shot with machine guns than for officers to work alongside their men at manual labour. It's really interesting that Boulle, being a Frenchman, managed to do such a good job of encapsulating that whole British stiff upper lipness, and also what it meant to be a British soldier at the time. I would give it a strong 4 out of 5. Yeah, strong 4 out of 5. Really good read. I'm going to go back and watch the movie afterwards. It's gripping. I will say, yeah, the New Yorker, I read this quote on the back, an amazing story, jumpy with suspense. it's not really jumpy with suspense. It's almost more satire, and in fact, it does also say, see also Catch 22. So yeah, it is a really good read, but don't be expecting like an espionage military thriller. It's more of kind of a character study of, as I say, British officers at the time. So yeah, Bridge on the River Kwai. Alright guys, just the one book to wrap up for you today, and that is The Venus Hunters by J.G. Ballard. This is a short story collection. I'll tell you which stories it's got in it, actually. Somebody's written in the front of this book's a swizz. All these stories are in other compilations. That's pretty much how short story collections work. I mean, if nothing else, there is the complete short stories of J.G. Ballard. Anyway, the stories it has is Now Zero, The Time Tombs, Track 12, Passport to Eternity, Escapement, Time of Passage, The Venus Hunters, The Killing Ground, One Afternoon at Utah Beach, and The 60-Minute Zoom, which sounds like one of my client calls. Now Zero is particularly interesting for me to read because it's basically Death Note, except written way before Death Note was ever conceptualized. So it's kind of cool to see how, you know, I guess art imitates art sometimes with that. I'm sure the guy Kushan Takami, I think his name was, or was that the guy who did Battle Royale? That might have been the guy who did Battle Royale. Anyway, the guy who wrote Death Note probably had never read Now Zero. But yeah, some really good stuff. The other thing that springs out to me, so the Time Tombs, the second story in the collection, I was talking about that in an interview recently because it's kind of, it's like archaeological, but archaeological from the future. What happens if a civilization from 10,000 years discovers the remains of a civilization from 5,000 years, both of them far in the future? Some really good, you know, speculative fiction. There are science fiction elements. Some of it's less so. I mean, Now Zero is almost horror or thriller or magical realism, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, some really good stuff in this, some really good character work as well. I think that's what Ballard does really well. I gave The Venus Hunters by J.G. Ballard a 4 out of 5. Well, it is now the end of January and I haven't read anything else, so that's it for this month. So as always, thanks a lot for watching. Don't forget to let me know in the comments which of these books you've read. If you've read them, let me know what you thought of them. Hit that like button if you've enjoyed this video, hit that subscribe button for more, and I'll see you soon for another bookish video. Thanks a lot.